The Wizard of Oz notes from the movie. What a whiz, if ever a whiz there was. Here are a few notes to consider, keeping in mind some of the words and phrases throughout this blog site. Very little needs explanation as it's just too obvious. Here are some of those words and terms. Dorothy equals Virgin, Toto equals Otto equals Aleister Crowley, Auto Templi or Aeantas, Otto. Sex magic. Toto equals Black Terrier. Dog equals Barney equals Bush's dog who bit a reporter. Terrier equals terrorist. Professor Marvel equals Ma Mother C. V equals 5 sacrifice son. L equals Father God. Munchkins and goblins equals Munch and Gobble equals eating as at a supper table. The marriage supper of the lamb. The red and yellow swirl on the set is the golden mean equals oasis of Egypt equals the seismic path of the western 11 states. The pool of water on the set links with the swirl equals the Great Basin in Idaho, Nevada. Utah equals the Great Artesian Basin in Australia. In the middle of the pool and swirl is a 7-tiered pyramid stage, 7 states of Australia upon which stands the capital Canberra and the capital Olympia. Washington. Mayor of Munchkin City has a huge pocket watch at his waist set to 5 o'clock. Sacrifice time. Black Munchkin coroner brings death certificate. Oz. Emerald City. Movie starts with flying in the clouds, somewhere over the rainbow, actually over the equator, Australia. Wish upon a star, dog star, God star, Sirius, Hawaii. Toto sits on seat, throne, of machine. Dorothy proclaims we can't go against the law, the wall of the law of Moses. Auntie Emily, says to Dorothy for 23 years, number of death, I've been dying to tell you what I think of you. Miss Gulch, G-word, Gulch equals yuck equals Kyudl equals cull or kill, wants to kill Toto, Otto. Sex magic. Professor Marvel, associated with the crowned heads of Europe, the elite puppets of the Luciferian thinkers. Professor Marvel consults his crystal equals Christ ball used by Isis and Osiris in the days of the pharaohs of Egypt. A twister in Kansas, Twister movie, Shania Twain song no one needs to know theme song of movie. Oz movie swirl, the tornado twister spins everything, chaos created, movie becomes colored. Dorothy says we must not be in Kansas anymore. They are now in the lush and strange land of the Pacific Southwest where the animals and vegetation are different from the rest of the world. They are now in Australia. They will soon follow the Oz Trail called the Yellow Brick Road. This sets the ground rules for the movie, and from here on there are references to yellow, the soldiers' costumes, death, the crow and KK. With thoughts that you've been thinking you could be another Lincoln. If you only had a brain. Apples are shown on the apple tree, the Garden of the Hesperids, the Garden of Eden, as a symbol of Zeus. As they're on their way to the Emerald City to see the wizard. Rain starts to pour unexpectedly, global warming, and rusts Tin Man. Apples fall at Tin Man's feet. You're correct now. But something missing. You need a heart. Instilling doubt. If you have a heart you can be friends with the sparrows. Romulus and Remus, who founded Rome, went to their respective hills, towers or pillars, to watch for sparrows, birds, planes, and be friends with the boy, Bogby and G-word, who shoots arrows, Eros, sexual distraction. All this is, as the movie says, just to register emotion, jealousy, devotion. If I only had a heart. Bad witch throws fireball from roof of house. Up to this point Dorothy, the virgin, goes down the yellow brick road with Tin Man and Scarecrow. Tin Man carries an axe equals axis of evil. They come to a forest of lions, tigers, bears. The line now joins the other 3 and continue down the yellow brick road. Yellow equals holy, brick equals sacrifice rock, road equals rose of death. They come to endless fields and hills of red, blood, poppies. The poppy is the symbol of Remembrance Day, Veterans Days, Armistice Day, and Anzac Day in Australia, New Zealand, symbolizing lest we forget. In reality, the poppy, opium, heroin and the drug culture totally make you forget. These poppy fields symbolize the drug culture of the west coast of North America, and the poppy is the state flower of California. All 4 fall asleep in the poppy fields. It starts to snow cocaine and the snow wakes them up. All snowflakes are hexagrams. The hex. Snow equals 1, S equals Isis 1. The foursome concurs. Unusual weather we're having. Now realized in our reality as global climate change. They now have the Emerald City in sight and it's prettier than ever. It's located near the fields of poppies and on the edge of huge forests. This is Seattle and Mount Olympus, Washington, one of the greenest parts of the world. Have a look on Google Maps. They go up to the Emerald City, castle, door. A sign is placed on the door that says bell out of order, please knock. The Freemason slogan is order out of chaos. The word bell equals sacrifice of VLL, which is chaos equals soch equals soak, which is order out of the flood. Please knock equals please kill as in get knocked FF. The foursome are told that no one has ever seen the Great Oz. Religious writings tell us that no man has seen God at any time. The Emerald City and the scenery within the castle and streets are green. This is the environmental green movement, the new one world religion of the trance state. There are horses of many colors, white, purple, and yellow, amongst others. These are the horsemen of the apocalypse. The Horus of death. The hours of death. Time that kills. Killing time. About this time in the movie the Wicked Witch does some skywriting on her broomstick. She writes Surrender Dorothy. These are the chemtrails we're now witnessing in the skies around the world. Surrender the Virgin. Give up the purity and succumb. In religious writings we're told that when the Lord comes he comes with clouds and every eye shall see him, even those that pierced him. For this reason the chemtrails have to be sprayed, creating fear and suffering, telling us to surrender to a power greater than us. Complete manipulation and mind control. They now get in to see the wizard. His throne is blasting out all sorts of fire, as in volcanic explosions. The wizard tells them that they have to kill the witch and bring her broomstick to him, then he'll grant them their wishes. All begin to run down the hall corridor. Janus, who is Jesus, or Zeus, is the two-faced god of halls, corridors, doors and gates. These are walls, or the laws that contain us. Words such as can, but, vessel, or container, are suggestions and symbols of the law. One example is the but I can. There's a bunch of chaos after this as the Tin Man, Lion and Scarecrow, guided by Oto's sex magic, attempt to rescue Dorothy, the Virgin, from the witch's castle. A witch's hourglass is filled with red sand and turned upside down, giving Dorothy 1 hour to live. Time runs out to save Dorothy. More chaos follows and eventually Dorothy throws water on the witch, melting her. This is symbolic of the global warming floodwaters of the North and South Poles that will cleanse the evil, the scourge called humanity, from the face of the earth. Of course, we're now supposed to be implanted with the subliminal notion that no, we can't let them do this to us. We must save the masses of humanity. We must maintain the three-dimensional experience. We must worship the earth, the water and the air. We must join the environmental green movement, the religion of the Emerald City, Seattle and the west coast of North America, and save ourselves by recycling and reusing. Even the Pope has now declared that to not recycle is a mortal sin. Having killed the witch they hail Dorothy, who liquidated the Wicked Witch of the West, the 11 western states, and off they go with the witch's broomstick to see the wizard. The wizard doesn't want to grant them their wishes at first, but then, being a kind old man, the Ancient of Days, concedes and gives Scarecrow a diploma. This is called a Th.D., Doctor of Thinkology. A diploma is something men get, not women, implanting division and duality, when they go to universities to become great thinkers, who think deep thoughts. To the Lion he gives a medal, for this will give him courage. The medal has red and white stripes as does the Stars and Stripes of the USA. Hanging from the red and white striped tab is a huge cross. He now belongs to the Legion of Courage. To the Tin Man he gives a red heart with a clock that's ticking. Much like a time bomb would tick. In the movie we're told, those with a heart should not be judged by how much they love, but by how much they are loved. So, we've been implanted with the suggestion that we're going to be judged, especially if people don't love us. Therefore, we better toe the line. Do as we're told. Worship the earth, air and water, or it's off to hell we go. The diploma, medal, cross and heart are all symbols with sigil magic manipulation qualities. Simply seeing these objects conjures up a mind control incident that relates and brings to mind endless implications. At first it strikes us as silly that just giving a diploma, a medal, cross or a heart could actually instill knowledge, courage and emotion. In this 3D experience, that's all it takes to become whatever you desire. If you keep focusing on the symbols which represent these notions, you will become indoctrinated with what the symbols portray. Whatever you believe and conceive, you will become entranced to achieve. Likewise, if you come to recognize the lunacy of this 3D light show, you will achieve a reconnection with the paradise state. To Dorothy the wizard says, concerning her desire to return to Kansas, I now have to make a cataclysmic decision. The wizard is going to do some stratospheric feats. Something from the sky. Kind of feats. All in the hopes of returning Dorothy to the land of e pluribus unum. Out of many one. Where God has favored our undertaking, or burial. The wizard and Dorothy hop in his state fair hot air balloon to go back to Kansas. However, things go wrong and Dorothy and Toto fall out and wizard flies off, not knowing how to control the balloon. Then the good witch Glinda, More G words, enters in a pink ball coming down from the sky. Glinda is a good witch representing the pinkness of the mother and her womb. Glinda tells Dorothy that she doesn't need any help, for she had the power to go back to Kansas at any time she chose. Dorothy realizes that when you want your heart's desire, it's right in your own backyard. In other words, be satisfied with the three-dimensional bullshit that we're fed every day, and be content. Dorothy responds further, it's wonderful to be true. Because of her realization in the magnificence of this three-dimensional reality in her own backyard. She's then told to tap her magic red slippers 3 times and think to herself, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. And she wakes up in the farmhouse, never ever wanting to leave her three-dimensional space again. Never, ever will SHE question her existence and her experience of where she's at. She will be content with just being able to breathe the air, drink the water and till the soil of this blessed 3D illusion. In other words, she will be content to be a slave all the while believing that SHE is free. Here we have the connection established once again, with the Civil War, the presidency of Abraham Lincoln, and the issues surrounding slavery. All, both white and black, brown and bronze, have become entranced to think that when a black man becomes president or high priest, that they're now free at last. Thank God, they're free at last. However, just like Dorothy, it's the maintaining of the three-dimensional illusion that's the prison. There is no freedom, and the intellectually trained high priest that is now president, will continue to maintain the 3D illusion, with a fervor and sincerity that will bring about the cataclysmic decision of the Wizard of Oz. The obvious question is then, but it's impossible to remove the 3D illusion? The obvious answer is, see how strong the trance is? Kind old Uncle Henry, oh Henry, honey, and Auntie M&M's, milk of the mother, concur. How sweet. All the mind control delivered in The Wizard of Oz has been directed at the MK Ultra mind control victims who are all of US. The mind control victims are all those who have come to believe that this 3D space is real and have totally lost focus with reality. The MK Ultra victims are nothing more than a smokescreen to hide the fact that we are all totally compartmentalized, and controlled and manipulated in our ability to reconnect to our original state of wisdom. If we look to the situation of the mind control victims and consider how fortunate that we're not in the predicament that they're in, then we're in that very predicament. We, like them, believe we've somehow missed the mind control and are somehow immune to the Luciferian, Illuminati-inspired agenda. We then consider, in our trance state, how we can, in some way, and somehow, maintain and protect our pretty little asses within this trance state. Not realizing for 1 minute, that saving our 3D reality is the whole purpose and intention of the agenda conjured up by the Luciferian thinkers. All children's stories that have made it into the scope of worldwide acclaim are all mind control tools of the thinkers. All the works of Hans Christian Andersen of Denmark, including The Littlest Mermaid, The Princess and the Pea, and The Snow Queen are all flogging the agenda of the thinkers. Alice in Wonderland, Sleeping Beauty, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, etc. Everything is a mind control tool. All are indoctrinated within us as little children by the teachers within the educational systems based on lunacy. Once this is realized and recognized to manipulate us into believing that our three-dimensional lives are of value and are real, it's a simple hop, skip and a jump, another subliminal, to lock us into the notion that we should then maintain the illusion at all costs. All this is indoctrinated into us in the hallowed halls of the educational systems. We know who the God of Halls is. So, this is the mind control involved behind The Wizard of Oz. Wasn't that a whiz, if ever a whiz there was? Penis